Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda, and this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
This podcast is all about taking action and creating that badass business abundance and life that you want.
Where we share stories, laughs, wins, and epic fails to show you the whole picture of the entrepreneurial journey.
It's not just unicorns and rainbows, people.
Jump on and follow us through this raw and witty roller coaster,
where we get down and dirty and go behind the scenes of life and entrepreneurship.
Get on it,
get over it,
and get after it.
Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast. This is a special podcast for me anyway, because, well, for Lynn too, I suppose.
I hope so.
Because we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the publishing of our first book, The Pursuit of Badasserie, How to Create Badass Business Abundance. Congratulations, Lynn. We've made it 1 year.
Yay. Congratulations, Amanda. We should have a background for those of you watching the YouTube one, like streamers and flyers and glitter.
Should have.
Lots of money.
Definitely background glitter, not actual glitter.
Yeah. Hell to the no. Oh, I'm so excited. I cannot believe it has been a year. It has been a year, like literally and figuratively.
Yes, it has literally been a year. And I think the funny thing about that is, to me, well, this is funny to me, is that it doesn't feel like it was a year. It feels like it was like 7 years ago. It feels like so much has happened in 1 year that we have accomplished or tried to accomplish or set forth to accomplish so much that it feels like years and years and years have passed since this book has come out, but it has only been a year. And I think that is mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing. I mean, it does. I would agree with you. It feels like years and years, but also there's a part of it that feels like yesterday, because this year disappeared so quickly. And, we have this conversation all the time. And actually I have this conversation with other people all the time when we are living like our life and things are like really happening, the years do seem to go by. Everything seems to go by quicker anyway, regardless. But, yeah, so much has happened, and we've gotten a lot of questions over the years. And I think the question maybe we should start with first is, what does the Pursuit of Badasserie, like, why did we choose that name? And I've been getting this question a lot recently as I'm like networking into different networks, and especially culturally, like a lot of people are like, badasserie, what does this word mean? So what is it? Why did we choose that name? And also, what does the Pursuit of Badasserie mean to us?
Well, when we were first picking the name, and for those people who have been in our writing masterminds, we've heard this story before. So we basically data dumped all the things that we thought about this book: abundance and business mindset and, being awesome and all the things that we were thinking. And like, again, it was a data dump. So we put all sorts of random things in there. And it was some like dream I had, like in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh, I think we should do like Pursuit of Badasserie. That's cool. And then we took a mashup of a bunch of the other things that we had made and made it into our subtitle. And so, but both of us, when we put that on the document, both of us were like, yes, this is the title, Pursuit of Badasserie. This is what we're doing every single day. This is what we bring to the table. And for those people who don't really understand what badasserie means, and I sort of badass mentality, which I know isn't an international thought. It's not even my parents were kind of like, what the heck does that mean? It's
same.
It's a lot of that go-getter, like just getting stuff done, striving for what you want, pushing yourself really hard, and not, being unapologetic and not settling for anything in your life. And I think that's really what we wanted to just sort of encompass in that title. And we're always pursuing that goal. There's no such thing.
It's not an end destination.
It's not an end destination. And there's no sense of like, okay, now I'm done. Like I'm badass.
Yeah.
We're done now. No, there's always something else that you can do for self-improvement, for self-development, for just, hitting that next target or goal or whatever you have in your mind. So it's always going to be that pursuit of badasserie, because there's always going to be something else. And for us, for both of us particularly, we're not stagnant people. We're lifetime learners. We're lifetime doers. And we just are constantly wanting that next thing not because we're not satisfied with where we are, but because it's like an inherent need to do more and be more and see more and experience more. And again, it's not because I don't like where I am. I want more.
Well, it's an inner
Really decide.
drive. I think some of us are born with that. I mean, some of it is definitely, we were just having this conversation in different contexts, but nature versus nurture. So I definitely feel like, some of us are truly born with that fiber, and depending on how woo-woo you want to get, I won't get the woo-woo side, but there is like, we come into this world with a certain makeup. And on the spiritual woo-woo side, you definitely come into the world with a certain makeup. And so they're like, we are always wanting to do. And then the nurture part could be out of survival, out of like getting out of running away. And it's interesting because I was reflecting on this the other day, and you remember when I flew to Florida and spoke in front of 6,000 people. And one of the things that I spoke about, and this was Moose Heart, which was the boarding school / group home that I was put into, my siblings and I were put into. And, they don't see a lot of success stories because the kids that go into that are really from very broken homes and environments. And one of the phrases, though, that I spoke about was all these years, people always thought that I was running from something, but really I was running to things. Like, I cannot create and accomplish the things that I know I'm destined to do in a stagnant mode. And so I was not running, and I'm not saying that there weren't times that I was running from things, but there was the majority of the time I always knew that I was running towards something, that I had that to accomplish, to really make sure that I'm living my life's purpose. And I think that that's, that definitely ties into the Pursuit of Badasserie as well. It's interesting in reflection, even of like, this whole year has been proof of our Pursuit of Badasserie. We've launched 2 books. We have a very successful podcast as well. We wanted to release 2 more this year, but we might release 1 more. But in less than a year, we have the 2 books not just written, but also published and on best-selling lists. We've spoke, I don't know how many places we've spoke. We've hosted several workshops, trainings, and masterminds. We have our own digital course now that's fully out. We have a very successful podcast. Like, it's interesting to see everything that we've accomplished, besides, because Amanda and I have this business together, we also have our independent businesses, right? So, and then, life dynamics, Amanda being a single mom, and lots of travel in there for me because I'm international. And it's just really interesting to like that we live the Pursuit of Badasserie. Like, it's not just the title of our book, but we live it, we embody it. And it's just so much of who we are. It's been an incredible ride for sure.
And I feel like, and this makes me sound crazy, but it's okay. I think most people who know me personally know I'm crazy. That's fine. I'm okay with that title. Even with all of that, I still feel like I slacked off this year. And I know that
you were going to say that. Same.
Because I did. I mean, like, I went on a couple vacations. I'm taking the month off of July. I've already like, oh, I'm going to do this. And like, yeah, there's working vacations as well. And there were a lot of things that I had put on my docket as well that I haven't really gotten as much traction as I wanted because I slacked off. And I know that sounds crazy. I know that, I mean, only you could probably understand when I say that I slacked off this year. And I did. I totally did. And it's been interesting because even with my feeling like I slacked off, we still did, in retrospect, we did get stuff done, but I know that I have more to give and I can't wait to do it. And that's why I really am excited about this whole brand that we have created, because I think it's only going to push me more in that direction, because that's what I want. Like, I want to be pursuing all of these avenues to reach more people, to help more people, to get where I feel like I need to go. And it's funny, this morning, I bought a lottery ticket, and the Texas lottery is like 200 million. So I was like, oh, I'm going to buy a lottery tickets for fun. My kid thinks it's hilarious to push the buttons, and he thinks that just pushing the button makes you win. And I'm like, I wish it worked that way, but no.
No kidding. Buy 2 then.
The person behind me in line, just being conversational, I was like, oh, what would you do if you won the lottery? Like, what would you do? And my kid says, well, we'd buy 2 12-foot skeletons. And I'm like, well, he's not wrong. We would buy two closet skeletons. And as far as like what I do for my job, I would do the exact same I'm doing now, but I would do it for free. And like that's how I know I'm living where I'm supposed to be living and doing what I'm supposed to be doing and pursuing what I'm supposed to be pursuing. Because even if I won the lottery tonight and won $200 million, I would still be doing this exact same thing on this exact same path, except I would be doing most of my work for pro bono because I love it so much. I want to help people. I want to get it out there and I want to reach more people. So I'd throw all my money back into the business and you would see a lot more of us. That's what would happen.
Absolutely. I definitely would see that too. And I think that is a testament because, you know, especially in the dating kind of world, since I do date, but I always get asked, I know, but it's like, what do you do for fun? My business, like, and I do other things for fun, but I think that, I think that's, that's really interesting. And I feel like that's also very much a part of our story is that we love what we do. We're not only good at it, we love what we do. And that the books, the podcast, everything that we've created this year, that really in 1 year is in most eyes, like, and we're not saying that they aren't huge accomplishments and milestones. They are. We do not like wobble on that. However, like we could have done more. And I think that that's where you feel like you slack some too, because I definitely know, like I could have done more here. I could have done more there. I procrastinate here. But at the end of the day, we are like still accomplishing so much. And I think, I think that that's just like, it's a very interesting kind of like dynamic right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I acknowledge that there's a little bit of that. Uh, we'll call it recovering perfectionism and constantly wanting to. I'm not proving anything to anybody else other than myself, and that's part of this whole journey. Is what can I do now that I've given up this idea that I can't?
Absolutely.
And because for so many years, I'm like, oh, well, I don't have time for this, or I couldn't do that, or I need to get more letters behind my name and before I can publish this, and I need to do this before I can do that, and giving myself excuses. And even though they were moderately legitimate excuses, I'm not saying that every excuse I've ever had, some of them are pretty lame. Like the reason why I didn't work out this morning, super lame excuse. So sometimes we give ourselves lame excuses, and sometimes they're absolutely legitimate, major surgery, or there are reasons. But when I let go of most of those excuses I had for myself, like, look what we can do in a year.
Absolutely.
And that was still with excuses.
Absolutely. And I will add to that though, Amanda, that I feel like because you said, when you kind of went within and you let go of that excuses and it does drive you, I think it's important to find like the root of either what's holding you back or what's pushing you forward. And we talk about this on some of the podcasts, even because you mentioned perfectionism. Like perfectionism actually served both of us really well. And then there's the shadow side as well. And I think that that's something to like keep in mind is that you need to connect back to whoever's listening to this. Like if there's something that you want to accomplish or things that you want to do, whatever your path is, and don't compare it to mine and Amanda's. I mean, we got a lot of, and I think we did a podcast about it, but we got a lot of, and I know that we know that they were doing out of love, like another book already or another course or, and I know that people mean out of respect and love, but that we want more. Like, so our path is very different than what yours is. So find where your path is and say, okay, like I want that. How am I going to get out of my own way and do it from a place of, of not others wanting you to do it, but you truly wanting to accomplish that. Sometimes there are markers like kids, especially like I have to do this to make sure that my kid is okay, not taking that away. But it really should come from that true essence of like, who is really motivating you? And then you look for outside help to continue to motivate you, which is one dynamic that has definitely helped Amanda and I actually accomplish so much this year too, on top of our businesses, is because we really do hold each other accountable. We really do have that inner dynamic, but we first have done the self-work And then we continue to grow with each other and independently to make that shit happen.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was just thinking that, and this is something I never believed in until probably this year. The idea that if you want to go fast, you go by yourself. And if you want to go far, go with someone else. And I've always felt like you got to rely, like, this is this is how I was raised. And you want something done right, you do it yourself. And I feel like that was the dialogue I had in my whole life, from birth till probably like in the womb till forever, till even now. If you want it done right, do it yourself. And that really drove me for a lot of how I ran my businesses and how I started and how I believed in funding my businesses. And just it set up a big precedent in my life and how I would run things. And this year, particularly, working with Lynn in this new company, it's really helped me open up to embrace the idea that if you want to go far, you need that executive team. And I tell my clients all the time, like, you need an executive team that is filled with people you pay and don't pay, that the right people who just push you where you need to be pushed, give you advice where you need advice. And again, that could be paid or unpaid. But in this specific example of the Pursuit of Badasserie, Lynn and I really have a core foundation of similar values, similar goals. And because of that, combined with our drive and the way that we work, I have no doubt in my mind that this time next year, this is going to be a totally different podcast about how.
Tune back.
I know. Who knows? I would love, this is like a time capsule podcast. I can't wait to go back.
Well, I always want to do time capsules.
Oh yeah, this is our time capsule podcast.
Absolutely.
But this time next year, it's going to be exponentially the impact that we're going to have, even just with each other, not necessarily like the whole entire world. And we're not going to, well, maybe we'll take over the world. Who knows? A lot can happen in a year.
Absolutely. I mean, you make an excellent point. And here's the thing, for those listeners that are listening that don't know, like, we've had partners in other businesses before, maybe had success and or not as much success. And I think that, throwing in that it should be the right person for the right reasons is really important. And we also have a very high level of respect for one another, and we play on each other's strengths. Like, one of the things, and I love using this example because I'm the asshole in this one. One of the things in the beginning, Amanda's like, okay, this is our social media. Like, we made our social media schedule, and she's like, we need to be doing reels. And I'm like, see myself doing reels, but where my strength is I'll jump on and do a live. I have this network, I have this person, I have this contact at this magazine, so I got this feature article in the cover of the magazine. And so we really respect each other's strengths as well and push each other with our weaknesses. And then we've also hired in, right? We have a team that we work with, anywhere from our copy editor to our VA to content like overseer-ish and more, right? Somebody who helps with the audio aspects of our business. And so I think it's really important to it's not just about the values and the vision and the mission. It is like going towards the same or similar goal, which we both are. But having that high level of respect, and because we can call each other out in a heartbeat, and we respect each other more for it. We do it in a way, obviously, that's not total jerk most of the time. Sometimes I'm a dick, but
even if you are a jerk, or if I am, let's be honest, it's more likely me. Neither of us take that personally.
Our feelings don't get, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we talk it through because we're working towards that same goal. And I think that that's where a lot of people and granted, and Amanda talks about this a lot in the podcast, and I can be this way too. And actually I was just having this conversation with somebody yesterday about we can keep our personal aspect outside of it. And when we're strictly in business mode, do it. And there were a lot of times that Amanda was making a lot of the decisions in certain aspects and then would double check with me and vice versa, because we were working within each other's strengths. And so when there's times, okay, it doesn't have to be both ways. It can be your way with the understanding that it's a collective, that we're moving forward, right? So I think a lot of times in these dynamics, which really worked well with us, is, you know, that we actually respect each other and trust their decision and say, okay, but we also have clarity in like what our strengths and weaknesses are, what our roles kind of are, have naturally evolved. And we're right as we grow into that next step. Like we had this discussion, I don't know, like 6 weeks ago, of like, actually now we need to clarify again, like this next step, what our roles are going to be in addition to what's already happening and how that looks. And I think that, you know, that's very much, and again, we have a business together. We also have our own businesses. But this is true for like, even if they're not, like Amanda said, paid or not paid, it's a really important tool to learn. And that's really aided in the success of the Pursuit of Badasserie, us being able to push ourselves to get so much completed in really not as much time as what you would think behind the scenes, because we are running other businesses. We do have other lives. And it's been a really beautiful process, and definitely a testament to the title of our book, The Pursuit of Badasserie. We are partners in this together, kicking ass and taking names along the way, including growing ourselves by working in our dynamic.
Yes, I am tremendously proud of everything that we've done this year and all the plans that we have for next year. And, you know, if you had told me, I don't know, 5 years ago that this is where we were going to be, I might have believed you, because it's a big enough.
We knew we were going to work together. We had that conversation
together. And I feel like it's so much better than what I thought it was going to be a year ago.
I agree.
Because it's scary to start a new endeavor. And for me, being this, like, if you want something done right, do it yourself. And this is not at all a reflection of Lynn, because this is just my own crazy.
I grew up with that. Do it right, do it yourself.
Yeah, but I always get this hesitation when I start a business venture with somebody else, with another person. I always have this, like, if it goes wrong, like almost like I'm always writing a prenup. Let's just call it that. I'm always writing a prenup.
She does, people.
I do. I always write the prenup, and I.
But you did with me.
No, we have a contract. We just don't have we have
but not the same type of prenup that you typically write.
You are correct. I went on a limb, and I'm okay with it. But
look at all the success we have.
No, I mean, but in general, I always write the prenup. Yeah. In this case, I did not write as thorough a prenup as I normally do. We still had contracts in place because I'm not crazy. Yeah. For all those who have partnerships out there who don't even have anything in writing, I would say, please contact me. I will tell you all the things, all my horror stories.
And Amanda is one who can guide you through that. Absolutely.
Yes. So that always gets in my way, but this year has exceeded my expectations. And when we first were filing that paperwork and getting all of our ducks in a row, this year has definitely exceeded. The Badasserie is only going up from here. I'm super excited for what's coming after this.
I agree. I really want to also take the time, because I know this is a little bit, maybe we're coming at time, but before we forget and close out, is like to thank everybody who's really helped us along our way, including those, like, we have had so many people who have stepped up and said yes. And either to our faces by being ARC readers or pre-readers or beta testers or whatever it could be, creating new programs together, our I don't want to call them our staff, but our people that work for us, right? And then everybody who's listening to our podcast, everybody who's purchased our books and our courses, the digital and the live ones. It's just, we would not be successful if we didn't have an audience who are supporting us, who are constantly passing the word along. And so it is so much value to hear that, you know, that we're on the right track. Even those of you who don't know how to communicate or don't understand that communicating already another book is not necessarily a positive comment. But with that being said, we love it and we take it, and we understand, like, we work at a different level, but that you're recognizing that we are kicking ass, and that you, and ideally that you are also doing the same. Because the book, yes, the books are about us and about our stories and stuff, but really, and Amanda said this earlier, we did this to help you. We did this to inspire others. We did this. Yes, we have the knowledge, but we were being asked this knowledge all the time. We did this so that way this could be out there in the world and help who it needs to help, when it needs to help them, in the way that it needs to help them, period. And without all of you, we would not be living in our purpose.
100% well said. We do what we do for you, and we do it by the grace of you. And thank you so much for everybody who has contributed to this last year. It has been a wild ride. It's only going to get wilder and crazier and more awesome and more badass. So thank you. If you feel like you want us to cover something, you want us to talk about something, you have questions, we are always open to your suggestions and to your comments, to your reviews. We would love to hear your feedback, because this is why we do it. We do it for your business, for you, and to improve your lives in whatever way we can. And if you have questions, we want to answer them. So please leave us reviews, leave us your questions, leave us your comments. We want to hear from you and help you make this year even more badass than last.
Absolutely. And on top of that, we want to hear stories. Like, we want to hear how you're living your own badass life, how you are spreading your own badassery, because that is the ripple effect, right? And so please let us know. You can leave it on one of our pages, or you can DM us privately. Like, either way, we want to hear. We want to hear you celebrate your own pursuit of badassery, because we should all be on this pursuit of badassery. I mean, really, like, in our own context, what that means to us, even if that is, getting out of a nasty partnership, or whatever that is, to creating a multi-billion-dollar company, whatever that pursuit of badassery looks like for you, we want to hear about it. So make sure that you are posting and sharing with us. And if any of this resonated with you, and you feel like it could resonate with somebody in your crew, please share our podcast. We would love that. Yeah. And I don't know, any last thoughts on the last year, Amanda?
Just thank you, everyone. And thank you, Lynn, for a year of badassery.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda. I agree. I'm excited about the foundations that we've built this year. Obviously the accomplishments, but truly the foundations to make the following years even that much more badass. So I guess till next time.
Get after it.
All right, everyone. It's not enough to just listen.
Now you've got to put it into action.
We are so excited to see what you do next.
If you enjoyed our show, please leave us a review on iTunes.
And to find out more about what we're doing, visit us at thepursuitofbadasserie.com.